After 6.5 hours, we are in Baekyangsa. The town is very rural. There's not much going on here. I'm not here for the town. We're here. We've come a long way. Now I'm just resting. I didn't take any pictures or video coming into the complex. I will probably do that on the way out. I just need to get on the program and rest. I'll be up at 6 in the morning tomorrow for breakfast with the monks. And hopefully I didn't miss dinner. I'm gonna check on that now. And luckily they have a cell phone tower right next to this building, so reception will be no problem for the rest of the time that I'm here. Welcome to Templestay, Baekyangsa. I made it just in time, about 20 minutes before the dinner. The best vegetarian dinner that I've ever had, with vegetables that I've never heard of other than mushrooms that normally I don't eat, but were perfectly fine here. Dining is a quiet affair. I don't know Korean, and most of the people here, they speak probably a couple of words of English, so they're very welcoming and they direct you in the right way. I maybe have taken a little bit more than my share, but I'm here one day, so I'm sure I will pay more respects during the breakfast and the lunch tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is the majority of the activities. I'm going off to do the bell ringing ceremony at 6, which is in about 15 minutes time from now. And other than that, I have about 3 hours to myself before the official resting period for the night. I have to be up at around 4:30 tomorrow for the morning chants. So I'll probably be going to bed much earlier than 10, but we'll see. I'm going to have a wander around the facility. It's pretty cold here for normal standards, but I'm perfectly fine. I don't even have my jacket on. Most of the other monks, I'm not a monk yet, they are wearing jackets and saying that it's really cold, but I'm definitely within my element considering the 50-minute walk that I took to get here. It would have been 25 minutes, except I, of course, got off at one bus stop too early, where the bus driver was probably shouting at me, saying that I was getting off at the wrong stop anyway. But you live and learn. Next time I'm here, I'll know better. So yes, off to enjoy Baekyangsa. It's a very loose attitude. They're all wearing Adidas just like me. There's some kids here. People are watching things in the rooms, internet-wise. Everybody's all dressed up. Lots of families come here, and it's almost like just a solitude retreat. Exactly what I'm looking for. Now, the sleeping quarters is not going to be the most plush accommodations that I've had on this trip, but at the same time, the room is so warm that I'm probably going to get the best sleep that I've had. And it's very quiet here. There's no cars allowed in this area after a certain time, which we are beyond. The dining hall, they close up shop very fast. Everybody does their own dishes, as is tradition, so it's right here. It's already closed up. So they are just on to ring the bell. So I'm gonna go, you know what? I'm gonna go on back and just go ring the bell. bell and getting my own bell rung for about the 20th time here in Asia. If you are 6 feet or over, you better watch your head clearance. Now, I should have known better because it was only about 4 feet to get into the chamber, but yeah, sure enough, I hit my head on the way out. So I've gotten used to it. No goosebump to report. Everything is fine. It's snowing a bit here, and it's gotten quite cold. Well, it's not super cold, but it's about -2 degrees maybe. No wind, so it's still manageable. I actually was outside there for about an hour without my jacket on, just dressed like this in my Scottish garb that I have here. Slightly Scottish Buddhist robes. Now, I've come really to just sum up the night. As much as I would have liked to have taken the camera on the tour, if you're going to come out and do an experience like this, you pretty much have to experience it for yourself. So, in respect of the customs and the chanting and observance that the monks were doing in the main temple, which I get to experience in the morning at 4:50, I'm not taking any video of that, or nor should I. It's more about learning the customs of Korean Buddhism versus Japanese Buddhism, and that from China and anywhere else in the world. I've now taken in many temples in 3 different countries, so I'm starting to get an idea of the subtle nuances between the religions, but as anybody who knows a lot more about this than I do, they could go off for many days about it. So that being said, I wanted to just sum up the room that I'm in. Now, I've not had many plush accommodations on this trip, but as far as space is concerned, this is probably the most spacious room that I'm going to have the entire trip. So it was 50 Korean won, which works to about $55, $57 Canadian. And we have basically a small apartment here to enjoy, a little studio, plus a massive, vast bathroom. All the essentials are represented. Now, considering that this is a monastery, it's compared to some of the conditions or bathrooms that were encountered, say, in China, this is pretty slick, I would have to say. It's very clean. In fact, it's superbly clean. It's also super warm in here too, so it's underfloor heating, but definitely if you're out and climbing the mountain to get to the temple, which I'm hoping to do tomorrow. In fact, they're saying as long as the weather's good, but I'll probably do it anyway. You can come back to your room and warm up really quickly. Now, as far as the sleeping accommodations are concerned, that's them there. So, yeah, gonna be lying on the floor, a nice traditional sleeping condition for, say, anybody that's worshiping the Buddha. I have no real problem with that. I've slept on floors many times, so it's not really gonna bother me. In fact, I'll probably get a good sleep because of that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. And as far as the rooms that are beside me, there's a family that we briefly saw earlier. They're just 2 doors down. Plus, there seems to be a couple other people here that are staying a little bit longer than I am that I have not seen in adjoining rooms. That being said, it's very quiet. They're watching their YouTube videos or Netflix or whatever next door, so when you go into the hallway you can hear it, but once you're in here you can't hear anything. So it's very quiet and very accommodating. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some rest here. I don't know what time I'm going to crash, because yes, I do have to be up at the main temple at 4:50 a.m. To do the meditation. So I'll see you tomorrow from the main compound of Baekyangsa. I may pick this up from the temple at the top of the mountain when I get there tomorrow. Here's hoping. So we were out as a group sweeping this entire complex. There's a lot of work to be done here. I'm going up now. I'm going to get some water from the cave. I'm in the minor greeting temple here. But yeah, off to the mountain. I keep getting lost. One thing about this place is that there are many paths to the unknown. I don't know. It says 600 meters, so I'm going to assume, hopefully, I'm on the right path. They've been out and about now for 4 hours. Monks, that is, but there's not anybody here. I don't know why I'm whispering. The further away I get away from the monastery, the more I could raise my voice. That was about easily a 3,000, 2,000 foot, I'd say probably. Here we go, officially climb number 6. And as far as I know, the last of my trip up to the temple. Already stunning views. To be honest, I haven't been able to cover anything about how beautiful this place is, but I can imagine what it's like in the spring. Apparently in the fall it's even more impressive. In the summary it said the temple is not too high, not too far. I still have that bit to go, and I've come from all the way on down there, so by not too far, it's like the second steepest climb that I've had this entire trip. So I've made it to the main temple here, halfway. In fact, if I just kept going a little bit more, I would be at the top of this mountain. So I can't really take any pictures of this. They're going to match what I'm seeing. And just a short walk from the temple is a cave as part of the legend. I'm not going to recount the story because it was just told to me last night and I had a bit of a sleepy head, so but the cave has as much significance to this place as the temple does. It's over 1,600 years old. It's very important to the old complex that we have here, and to be honest, it's way more rustic and rural here than in any temple that I've been to, which is exactly what we want. You come to a place like this, the whole importance of a monastery is to be at one with nature, and I can't think of any other more beautiful setting that I've encountered on this tour. So they've got that right. It's also, there's nobody here. It's so quiet. If it wasn't for the planes overhead, you would think that you're in another world. It's something to take in, and it's something that, if you're into it, everyone should do once in their lifetime. So I just drank and washed my hands with some of the water from the cave. I'm not sure if you're supposed to drink it. I think you are. It seems perfectly where you get your bottled water from anyway. I can't read Korean, so we'll see the results of that. And at the top of the cave, we have this no shortage of things to do here. There's 2 peaks. I could go up to the top if I wanted to. It's 1.5 kilometers. Or I could do half that and go to a shorter peak. So I will do that. And then I will head back down. So my 6th climb is going to have to end here. It's 0.7 kilometers to the peak behind me. But if I try to climb that right now, I will not make it back in time for getting the water from the cave back to the monastery. So I'm on my way back down. But I'm not too concerned, because if I'm ever lucky enough to be here again, I will do all these sites, all the peaks around here. It's a massive park, and now there's people randomly showing up for the trails and stuff. But if you stay in the monastery, you'll be lucky enough to get here at the crack of dawn. And then finally, for one last confession, obviously the reason I initially came here, or may not be obvious, but it's somewhat famous because of the head monk, the chef at the female hermitage, which is just up behind me, about 2 kilometers up that mountain, is I'm not even going to pronounce her name, because I've been not pronouncing things correctly all day, so they're all trip. But she is here. I couldn't unfortunately visit because it just didn't fit my schedule, and the availability wasn't there. It also is a little bit more of a touristy thing now, because you can book a package to do that here and get a cooking class. I really just wanted the experience, so I'm kind of glad that I did what I did. Instead, that's not to say that I might not try it at some other point. If I had visitors with me, I would definitely do that. But in its own right, this temple is very much worth, this monastery is very much worth the effort to get out here. It wasn't easy. I'm hoping the way home is easy, or at least the way to Seoul is easier. But she lives in a very idyllic and amazing place, and I really do hope I come back at some point. About 1.5 years ago, I was sitting in my dentist chair, staring at a TV screen while I was getting my teeth cleaned. Everything was fine. And I watched a show for the first time called Chef's Table, of which I've already referred. And little did I know that that experience would actually lead me to a monastery here in South Korea to try foods and flavors that I've never encountered before. Needless to say, the lunch was my most enjoyable of all the 3 meals. Not to say that any of them were not. The dinner with the dumpling soup was outstanding. The lunch today, the flavors were probably the most intense of anything that I've had, but it definitely clears out the sinuses and makes you feel much more fuller, not in the sense that you have a lot of food, but fulfilled in a way. And so my stay here comes to an end. Far too short, but the monks and everyone here were just the most welcoming, and they're not the most emotional or forthcoming type people, but that can be expected from the location that we're in. What can I take from this, other than to say, if you're thinking about doing something like this, you simply must do it. It was a bit of a hassle getting here, but at the end of the day, am I glad that I did it? I can't say I've done anything better on this trip than coming out here. So now I go back into the city of yelling bus drivers and frantic traffic and just a general myriad of people sandwiching into each other. I am festooned and ready to go back into civilization, screaming bus drivers, people bouncing into one another. But my mind is much more clear, and I will take it a lot more easier than I did in getting here. You can also just visit this place. You don't have to stay here. There are plenty of facilities here and gift shops, just like any place in touristy Asia. So if you do, make sure that you at least stay for half a day, because there's more than enough to do for 10.